It's been 9 months since we crowned a CIAA champion on the hardwood. And honestly, nothing has felt normal in college basketball since Winston-Salem State cut down the nets back in February. And it'll be 2022 at least before we crown another one, as the coronavirus pandemic has caused the CIAA to cancel the 2021 regular season and conference tournament.
Commissioner, basketball is not going to turn out the way that maybe a lot of us were hoping for, but the way things have gone this year, I don't think anything is a surprise. Kind of tell us what's going on right now with the CIAA and basketball.
Yeah, well, thank you for this time. I think across the country, we all are feeling COVID tired and we're feeling COVID stress in college athletics. This has been an ongoing conversation, I know, within the CIAA on what is the best thing to do for our student athletes, for our community, for the financial stability, and for the mental wellness and health of our student athletes. And the conversation doesn't end. As you're watching the data and the stats of what's happening in our communities, there's a lot of stop and go, but right now there's a lot of stop. And at this point, with our board, I'm just really taking the time to talk through, what is in the best interest for the CIAA in unified way to move forward. And so we won't have a basketball season, unfortunately, Tolly. It's a sad day, but a day that I understand and value the opinions of my board, my team, our membership, our student athletes, on how to make sure that we as a community do the right thing for the best interest of this conference. Now, mind you, we've never, ever have not had a tournament in 75 years, right? So this is a hard one. A few years ago, as you know, basketball was the first time since World War II that we didn't have, based on unfortunate circumstances. And so what we can't control is COVID and the impact that it has on the African American community, which is happening continually in a higher than a normal rate in our footprint. And so there are some stipulations now that are happening in the state of Maryland, as you see in North Carolina, Virginia, South Carolina, and this is where our schools, this is where they reside. And so this will be the first of many for a lot of conferences, actually, but we'll get through it.
And that's just what's happening in the world of college hoops right now. Teams are just getting through it, wading in the uncertain waters of game cancellations and postponements. It's been 21 months since we last crowned a MEAC tournament champion on the hardwood, and unlike the CIAA, the MEAC is doing their best to play their non-conference schedules through unprecedented circumstances, doing everything in their power to ensure that someone can cut down the nets at Norfolk Scope Arena in 3 months. But the silver lining in the cloud of chess being played with college hoop schedules right now is that the fans are getting some matchups that we wouldn't normally get, like a Pac-10 squad from California coming to an HBCU gym in North Carolina on a sunny December afternoon.
In the COVID season of 2020, anything can happen in college basketball, and we literally in Greensboro had what amounted to a last-minute pickup game between the Stanford Cardinal and North Carolina A&T. Our Wally Pitt and Stephen J. Gaither were there. Wally, it's not very often and may never happen again that North Carolina A&T finds itself hosting a Power 5 school like Stanford. No fans there today, but the media was there. What was the environment like in Club Corbett minus the club part?
Yeah, man, it was definitely minus the club. The environment was a basketball game. Like when you strip down the pep band, the cheerleaders, the fans, especially the specific fans that A&T has, how rowdy they get, how they dance. It was literally just a basketball game, which was a little weird. It was a little funny considering how you got a Power 5 team essentially pulling up for a pickup game on a Sunday afternoon. But, it was fun. It was a good game. But, yeah, Club Corbett, it was not.
North Carolina A&T hosting their first ever Power 5 opponent, the Stanford Cardinal, in an empty Club Corbett, which is so 2020, but at this point, just being able to go to a game is a show enough blessing, so shout out to the Aggies for letting us in the door. Stanford came into this one all the way ready on both ends of the court. Here they get the steal that leads to an open three. Aggies down big early, but they get a little defense to offense of their own. Cam Langley finds Jeremy Robinson, who gets the second chance and one, and no cap, A&T started to get busy on the Cardinal real quick. Blake Harris says, bruh, I know all about this Power 5 life. He takes the ball fake right to the bucket with a nice hang time lay. Then it's Harry Morris from Cam Langley. That's a bucket plus one. Aggies right back with some good ball movement that leads to a Keyon Dooling 3. And how about Tyrone Lyons? The nice spin move and the post finish with the left. Aggies chop the lead down to 13. And them dogs was still off the leash. Keyon Dooling pulls up for another 3, knocks it down, and A&T goes into the half down only 8. But the Aggies were barking up the wrong tree in the second half as Stanford puts their foot on the gas and puts this one to bed 78-46. And while the final score was ugly, A&T can go forward knowing that when a tough Power 5 team showed up on their doorstep, they were right there ready to battle to the very end.
It's really about battling. And I think those 5 guys battled, threw their bodies around, got contact with their guys, rotated in the zone, and we were able to hit a couple shots during that stretch too, to cut the lead down and give us some hope going into halftime. But we couldn't sustain that coming out into the second half. I think the quick turnaround, conditioning still a factor, guys getting to know each other still a factor, and so it's something. It's work in progress. But when you play a team like Stanford, they're going to show you exactly what you need to work on. You play somebody that's your level, you may be able to get away with something. But you play somebody at that level, they're going to show you exactly what the areas that you need to attack.
Wally, you guys have a safe trip up to the Bay Area on the East Coast. We're going to call it Norfolk State and Hampton. We'll be looking forward to those highlights as well. And we'll talk to you a little later, man.
Or how about one of the pillars of college hoops calling up the HBCU a town over and saying, hey, we need some run this Sunday. Y'all want to stop by one of the most famous gyms in the country and get a game in?
North Carolina Central at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, 24.5-point underdogs, a last-minute game on the schedule because of COVID-19 cancellations. Our Wally Pitt put in a credential request, but he was denied because of, COVID protocol, not enough room. I get it, we get it, but we don't give up. Wally Pitt got his hands on some footage, and he's going to show us how North Carolina Central had UNC fans everywhere scared to death.
North Carolina Central traveling up the road to the Dean Dome for some Saturday afternoon pickup hoops against the 16th ranked UNC Tar Heels. And Lavelle Moton and company came to Chapel Hill like Bump being the schedule filler. We coming to the Dome to get that dub. The Eagles started off hot with a 13-4 run. Here we got Jordan Juice Perkins finding Nick Fennell, who got his own back with the putback for 2. Then we got Justin Watley. Go ahead and pull up, my dude. Then it's CJ Kaiser knocking down the little dribble drive pull up. And I couldn't tell which one of these teams was ranked early on. 10 minutes left to play in the first half. Jonathan Maxwell round and round like Pac in 93. The nice off-balance layup puts NCCU up 7. The Tar Heels did have a major free throw advantage in this one, but the Eagles were out there controlling what they could control. Later in the half, Jordan Perkins to CJ Kaiser hit him with the backdoor Lil Joe. That put NCCU up 8. The Tar Heels got their way back in it and went to the break up 2, but the Eagles still getting buckets on their end. Justin Watley's back with another easy lay. But UNC goes on a real quick 10-0 run in the second half. The Eagles were down by as many as 15, but still fighting their way back. CJ Kaiser's defender said, bro, I got to slide real quick. And CJ knocks down the open jumper. But NCCU couldn't get back on top as they fall to the Tar Heels 73-67. A more than valiant effort for NCCU, who should be real confident going forward after playing so well against a ranked UNC squad.
For the last 4 minutes of the first half, I thought that's when we gave the game away because they didn't know what we were doing. I didn't know what we were doing. We just kind of drawing plays in the dirt, and it kind of just looked like sandlot basketball, and it kind of cost us. So I had to do a better job of understanding our team during this pandemic and giving us some kind of structure in those situations regardless of the circumstances. You guys got to understand that Coach has been phenomenal. Like he's been phenomenal to me. I come from middle school and then high school, right? So my pathway to, the Division I coaching route, it hasn't been the typical route. It's kind of been abnormal, and he's always welcomed me open arms. And it's always, honestly, I feel like I'm a part of the North Carolina program because my cousin played here, Donald Williams, in 1993. My friends Jerry and Rashid and Vince and Jeff McGinnis, and the list goes on. My son's godfather is Raymond Felton. Daughter's godfather is David Noel. So he's always had a healthy respect. And with that said, he's always trying to look out for me and do whatever he possibly could. This helped us financially with our program, right? It was a great game, but he kind of did it to help us financially as well. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds for us. So even with the racial injustice and the inequalities that was happening, he and I had some healthy dialogue, this summer when all of the George Floyd and the racial dynamics was going on. And I said some things publicly. And he and I had a great conversation. And the one thing he told me was, I appreciate you saying that because it made us all take an inside look at ourselves. And so anything to help our program, he's always done it. I wish he would have helped us by letting us win today, but such is life. I knew that was going to be, look, it's very simple. Everybody knows what Carolina does, right? If you're a Carolina fan, if you watch ACC basketball, I was a child growing up in this triangle area. What Boy does is just I think it's Dean Smith on steroids, right? And so some of the same things Dean Smith does. So we all know, my 7-year-old son can tell you exactly this Scott McCoy Carolina. But it's all easier said than done because sometimes their best offense is a missed shot, right? And you have 15 feet of man inside that paint getting second chance opportunities. And, these guys are huge, man. Like, I don't know if TV does that any justice. You guys probably haven't seen these young Armando and Garrison and Dayron and Kels, like, for themselves. But these kids are huge. And so you put them all together, that's 28, close to 30 feet of man. And it's constantly coming at you. They're always healthy. They always energized. And so we just wanted to make sure we was going to double the post. Whoever caught the ball, just go double the post and make them pass out of the double team. And we were going to put the pressure on the young guys. I love Caleb. I love Leaky. And I love RJ. But I said, let's let the young guys, make them make some shots, except for play tech. And so that was pretty much the game plan. We tried to execute it, and the rest I didn't want to spend too much time on North Carolina because we didn't have practice time, so any idle time we need to spend on us and just let the chips fall where they may. And I thought the kids did a good job of executing to a certain degree.
And even amid all the discord and the scheduling and feel of these pandemic games, there have been brief moments of normalcy. Times where the fake crowd noise plus a close rivalry game and energetic players have managed to feel like business as usual.
Wally, you're coming off a game at A&T where there was nobody there but media, but tonight, the Battle of the Bay, there were a few people there. Tell us about the environment. What was it like? Who got in? What was the energy there?
Oh man, it was an entirely different story from A&T. Mainly, maybe because that game was kind of like a pickup on the fly. There were fans here. Norfolk even piped in some fan noise like the NBA bubble, but mostly the energy came from the benches. I mean, both benches were hype. It's not a whole lot of people here, so you could really hear them talking. A real funny thing happened right at the beginning of the game. The shot clock didn't work, and you could hear the players being like, whoa, that ain't the time, and they actually changed it. So you got to hear a little bit of those interactions that you don't get to hear, when the stadium, especially for a rivalry game like this, when the stadium's packed. But this was fun. I mean, for a moment, there were brief moments where it didn't feel like we were in the coronavirus. It felt like I was just shooting a regular old game. And that's kudos to the guys on the floor because they had energy from pregame till it was over, and it was a lot of fun.
Man, they done messed around and let your boy back in the gym. Now, the Rona kept me off the floor, but it ain't keep me out the door. The 2020 Battle of the Bay, as Hampton came down the road to Norfolk for the only rivalry game in the 757 that really matters. There were fans who showed up from both schools, but no matter how many people were allowed in Eccles Arena, the guys on the court were ready for that action. Both squads were hyped during pregame and even blessed us with a little work for the first layup line dunk contest of the season. But once that thing tipped off, the Spartans and Pirates were locked in and gave us a show-enough battle after about a bet. First possession of the game, Devontae Carter, calling a screen, he fakes the baseline drive that puts old buddy on skates. Carter pulls up, knocks it down 2-0 Spartans out the gate. Then it's Edward Oliver Hampton, splash down for 3. Hampton up 1, and you can go ahead and get used to this back and forth thing because it was blow for blow all night. Oliver Hampton again. This time it's some paint work after the nice pump fake. Devontae Carter thought about pulling up for 3, but instead he puts his mans onto a bucket. The deep tray from Daryl Anderson has the Norfolk bench jiggier than Shiny Suit Puffy and Mace on the Vegas Strip. Devontae Carter again, back to the basket. Fadeaway, you gotta call Kobe when you hit one like that. 13-0 Norfolk early. Then the Pirates strap on the eye patch and unfurl the sail. Chris Shelton pulls up for 3. Marquise Goodwin for 2. Goodwin again off the loose ball, fast break, the 2 easy dunk, plus a little smoke for the Norfolk bench. And speaking of smoke, this one set the sprinklers off. Russell Dean finds Edward Oliver Hampton, and yeah, broski, that's a body. Hampton up 4 with 4 minutes left in the half until Daryl Anderson claps back with another 3. Yeah, go ahead and stop playing with them. Norfolk State locked in, down 1 late in the half. Spartans running a little motion. Devontae Carter with the up and under looking like Kyle Watson in the shootout. Somebody might need to find Wood Harris and tell him to put away the strap after that one. Behold, green and gold looking to get that lead back. Then Carter finds Tyrese Jenkins in the corner. That's a bucket. Norfolk now up 3. Final seconds of the half, and Edward Oliver Hampton gets the last second putback off the miss, and we go into break with the Spartans up 38-37. Norfolk keeping it going in the second half. Devontae Carter not tripping off the double team. He said, "Here go your change, fam, but all I got is dimes." He finds Chris Ford in the paint, who goes on ahead and throws that thing down. Speaking of dimes, Russell Dean says, "Here's a little 10-piece I had in my pocket." He hits Edward Oliver Hampton with the driving bounce that leads to 2 points. Then Russell Dean finds Daniel Bannister in the corner for 3. Hampton up 4, 15 minutes left to play, and that's when Devontae Carter grabbed his paper bag lunch, kissed the kids on the forehead, and headed off to work. Carter says, "Let me get that board real quick, and I'm going to actually go ahead and take this all the way and get the lay as well." Norfolk State up 2, 52-50. Now Devontae calls the screen. The drive left, the finish right, through contact, ooh yeah, that's a bucket. Spartans up 4. Here's a grown man rebound, coast to coast, come get this little jelly on your biscuit too with the finesse leg. Devontae Carter in his office, door closed, hold his calls too, cause that man is in here working right now. Carter, another head down bucket that he made look too easy. Norfolk up 6, 4 minutes left to play. Now I said in the post game that he went into his 2012 Derrick Rose bag, and I won't joke it. Devontae Carter and the coaches out there calling everybody out the way. Just get a man ones out there, it's gonna end up with a bucket. And he must have hit a happy hour because he turned up a little bit after that one. 69-62, Spartans starting to pull away. But Devontae didn't clock out just yet. He pulled a little overtime with the late game jumper, 28 points, 8 assists, no FICA or federal withholding on his check from tonight. He gets to keep the whole bag after that performance. Norfolk State wins 76-64. They send the Pirates back out to sea after defending their castle, and the 3-1 Spartans have started this season looking sharper than a pastel blazer on Easter Sunday.
I mean, of course you want to beat a rival. You know, the way the schedule was set up, we had keyword had, like 3 rivals set up. We had Old Dominion, we had Hampton, and then we were supposed to play William and Mary on Wednesday. So it was going to be like bang, bang, bang as far as the 7-5-7 rivalry games, which maybe wasn't the best schedule on my part because there's like a lot of emotion in those games. But, we were able, at least we were able to get one of the rivals so far. So it's still great to have a rival win. It helps with recruiting and things like that. But it definitely was weird with no one in the building.
So Norfolk State gets the win over Hampton, and so far it's been so good for Norfolk State. Walia, it's very early, but they look like one of the teams, if not maybe the team to beat in the MEAC.
Man, they look good. And, on our Slack channel, we kind of had some back and forth about how, the external, the guys who don't cover HBCU sports all year round are basically just like, well, it's Central or A&T. And I know in our chat, we were kind of like, you might want to look out for Norfolk. And I think they're proving it. They got a really good team. They got some depth. And, man, they got some energy, man. They got some guys on the bench who are just hyped 24/7. And that's what you're going to need in a season where, the fans aren't going to be here. You got to create your own energy, just like we talked about at A&T. And it seemed like Norfolk is doing it. So, I mean, and don't sleep on the Spartans. If we can get this curve right and we have a MEAC tournament, don't sleep on the Spartans to take it home.
Okay, I might have been guilty of being all about North Carolina Central and North Carolina A&T. I'm just going to raise my hand, okay? I confess. I confess of my sins right here. Finally, before we let you go, was it fun? I mean, this is a new environment. There's new, it's a victory just to make sure your game doesn't get canceled in 2020. For what you're accustomed to, what your expectations were going in, did you have a good time?
Man, this one was fun. I was a little nervous after the A&T game just because that one was kind of so slow, no fans at all, man. But this one was fun. Like I said, there were brief moments where I was so into the game that I kind of forgot that, nobody was here. And, they had a decent little crowd. I think the capacity was 250, and with them spread out, it was kind of hard to tell. But, man, this was a good one. And if this is what conference basketball is going to be, I'm here for it because this was fun. It was a good game, and, you got to create your energy somewhere. And shout out to the players because they did it.
No one knows what the future holds for college basketball in 2021 and beyond. We can only wear our masks and hope for the best. But I know one thing for sure is that HBCU Game Day will be pulling up to any gym they let us into, doing whatever we can to bring you whatever action there is.
Game over!